It has been a minute, but I'm right back in it to win it, and I'm at my 13-year Lociversary. So not too much has changed since the last time I checked in with y'all, which has been several months ago. I've been working on a lot of different projects that have taken me away from YouTube temporarily, but for now, I'm right back here to give you all an update. So over the last year or so, since you saw my 12-year Lociversary, I would say not a whole lot has changed. I still abide by the same regimen for the most part. Less is more. So I'm still doing my best to stay hydrated on a daily basis. I've been drinking a lot more coconut water lately. And as far as keeping my locks clean, I use diluted Dr. Bronner's when I do wash my hair. Sometimes I'll use like children's shampoo, like specifically something that would be formulated for a baby, because I don't put a lot in my hair, so I don't have a lot to take out of my hair. As far as kind of maintaining outside of that, I do go through and pick out lint and different things that get caught in my locks as much as I can. I feel like with the age that my locks are now, I almost have somewhat of a barrier from a lot of things. I find that things don't get trapped in my hair as easily as they did once upon a time when my locks might have been greasy or oversaturated with other products. That's also gonna create your hair as a lint magnet. So just some things to think about. I would say some really cool experiences that I've had with my locks over the years since I checked in is getting in the ocean. I feel like that salt water just does justice. I mean, I imagine it wouldn't be great every single day, but just once in a blue as something to do when you're in the ocean and thinking things through outside in the free air, outside like you don't care. As you can see, I'm still on my lyricist tip. I like to flow and just have fun with it. I never try to take myself too serious. And that's one thing that I appreciate about freeform locks is you really do have to have that mindset that you don't care what other people think, because believe me, others are going to have opinions, and if you're not strong-minded, you may let those things influence your journey from even beginning in some cases. So imagine that. I could talk about a lot of different things, but really I just wanted to use this time to check in and kind of give you all some updates as I've been growing my locks for a whole nother year. Some questions that I've been getting asked a lot is, do you plan on ever cutting your locks? At the length that they are now, I'm finding that it has been an adjustment. They're right below my waist at this point, so I do want to avoid sitting on them or having them, you know, touching certain things. So I do find myself wearing my hair up a lot more often than I did previously at this new length. Also, like if I'm going to the bathroom, particularly like in a public setting, I always put my hair up before I even walk through the bathroom door, because I just want it to be completely out of the way. I don't want any chance that it's going to touch the seat or the walls or anything else that's avoidable. Another thing that I've found at this particular length is washing it. My hair stays wet a lot longer than it used to. So as someone who lets my hair air dry, I get a head start with this special cloth that I have that's super absorbent. So I try to suck a lot of the water out and moisture and give it a head start to dry. And then I try to plan my days for when I'm going to be spending plenty of time in the sun, so I can let the sun do its thing and drying them out. Now as we transition into the cooler months, fall is right around the corner, winter following that, I'm not able to dry my hair outdoors. So one thing that I do know with locks, and thick locks in particular, is you do not want your hair to stay damp for any length of time. The longer it stays damp, the more likely you are to get mold inside of your locks, and that's just something really bad to think about when it comes to health and things like that. So I do suggest making sure that your locks are adequately dried, and I'll take some time to make a separate video specifically about washing and drying and all of those things at this length and at this thickness that my locks are now. I will say that when you do use a lot of product, a lot of oil-based stuff, it's going to cause your hair to stay wet longer. And that again is not a great thing because you have mold to worry about the longer your hair stays to dry. So the sun is your friend. If you are using heat, I try to just be mindful of how often I'm using heat and at what temperatures I'm using. So that is also an alternate to drying thick, long locks so that they're not staying wet for a prolonged period of time. But again, my preferred method is always going to be the sun. Other things at this length, I've been able to be a lot more creative with the lock styles. Stay tuned for part 2 of that video. So with the lock styles, I have a lot more room to tie my hair up multiple times. So it's been a little bit fun. I've never really been one to do a whole lot of styling with my hair since I've grown my locks. But at this length and keeping it out of the way, I do find that I'm wearing it up, tying it up, and doing different things a lot more often than I have previously. Now, as far as growing my locks at different lengths in particular, I feel like at every milestone, I'd say every 4 to 5 years, I've had different adjustments to make. I can think back and remember when my hair was right about shoulder length. It feels like it stayed at that length for a long time. And when it got a little bit longer, you know, I've never been used to having to move my hair out of the way when I eat. So that was a challenge during that year of my locks where it was just constantly getting in my plate. So that's something else that I had to adjust to. So I think that throughout all of the different stages of your locks, you're going to make adjustments. Your regimen may change slightly. The way that you wear your hair may change slightly. So just be open to all of those things. You have to kind of figure out what works best for you, what doesn't work, trial, error. You can get advice from many people, but until you experience it at these different stages, you're really not going to know exactly what works for you. So that is my suggestion, is just to be patient and embrace all of these different stages of your locks. I imagine that as my locks get longer and longer, I may reach a point where I want to keep them at a certain length, but I am all about the energy that my hair holds, and I'd like to think that it is positive energy because of my positive mindset and the tools that I use to overcome negativity. So I know a lot of times when we cut our hair, it's to release a lot of energy that we may be carrying in our hair or in our crown. For me, I just feel like I'm in a good place right now. I have been in a good place for a while now throughout my lock journey. It is a blessing. It is a privilege to be able to move this way, and I am very grateful for that. So I don't necessarily see myself cutting them as I look forward, but that could change. You know, I'm just going to continue to embrace these different stages and make these adjustments and just move fluidly as my hair grows and not just be tied into one way of living. And as far as locks, for me, it has closely correlated to my lifestyle and just a positive overall journey and what I want for my future. And my ultimate goal for my health and well-being is I never want to get to a place where I'm dependent on anything outside of my house, outside of myself, to make me feel better, to make me be in a place. I think in today's age, we are so dependent on fast, fix-it things that do not build a long-term solution for things that we may be feeling or negativity that we may have in our life. So the fix-it pill does not work for me, and if I have it my way, it's not something that I'll ever have to be completely reliant on for any sort of deficiency or any sort of mindness. So this is my goal, and I've been doing a lot to kind of recognize things that I would consider myself attached to. I don't want to say dependent on, but just routines and habits and things that I've gotten accustomed to. I want to get to a place where I'm never that comfortable. I'm always evolving, and I want to be able to detox and step away from things, reintroduce different things, and not be so tied into solely living one way. I want to be able to continue to eat the things that I want, and my body works in such a way that it's cleansing and it's flowing, and I'm retaining what I need from it and dismissing what I don't. I'm ultimately trying to get to that point where everything is just so fluid and so just in harmony with what I need, that I can flourish solely from what I eat, drink. I want everything that I put in my body to be complete nourishment. And when it tastes good, that's also positive. And my taste buds have evolved. I am looking forward to doing a lot more traveling. I've lived a plant-based lifestyle for a long time. A lot of people, you know, question, oh, will you ever eat meat again? I've always gone back and forth with fish over the decades. So when I traveled to Australia and New Zealand, I got to try different types of fish, such as bronzino, wild caught and fresh. This could be a whole nother conversation because I don't want to take away from what I was initially here to speak about, which was my 13-year lock journey. But I say all of this to say that it's okay to be who you are and change things and live differently based on where you're at in your life. I think that it's very limiting to be solely stuck on one way of living and not change as your body, your need, your thoughts, and things change. I'd say if what you're doing, you're moving in love and positivity, then you can do no wrong in terms of not affecting anyone else in a bad way, not harming yourself or others clearly. I think that it's a very limiting place and a prison that you can put yourself in to be so stuck on living a certain way and doing things a certain way based on solely principle and solely rules that you've set up for yourself. That's very limiting, and I don't think that it's a sustainable way of life to be happy. If you look at different cultures and places around the world, they put as much emphasis on keeping the mind happy as we do on what we eat in other places. So what I mean by that is, if you go through a traumatic experience that's affected your mind, and you carry that weight from childhood on to being an adult, that baggage can paralyze you and create deterioration in your body, in your mind, in your spirit. It can deteriorate your health in a way worse than any food or anything that you drink can. So that balance is key. And I'm in a very good place right now, y'all. This video is really long right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and just end it here and let myself get back into the flow of things. I do hope to produce a lot more content for y'all in the next coming days. I really have a lot more that I want to share. I'm working on some art as well. I have some collaborations that I want to talk about that I did over the past year, and I'm just feeling really good, y'all. I hope the same for you. And I'll just leave you with a quick freestyle in the way that I used to. Hey ho, which way did they go? I come through with the ill-ass flow. I'm singing a little cause it's acapella. But hey, what you think? Come through, don't blink. You know, we don't sink. We float, no skate rink. We skate, it's not too late. Don't hesitate, you are great. Positivity, and I'm feeling free cause I'm out DC, and you know what it be. So lyrically, and I keep these words, say things you haven't heard, and you know I'm a nerd. I like to learn, I like to burn, and I come through, my love and you'll yearn. I'll cut it short, I do this for sport, I feel it in my heart. Not like a sweet tart, but like something good, something vibrant, like wood, different shades. I like to parade, come through like you already knew. We're walking white night blue. This is how we do. I'll stop it here. My future's clear. A plane is near, but don't deter. There are distractions. I change my actions. Come through, not laxing. About to be in LAX, and then I flex. Come through, feeling respected, and you know we not neglected, where my dreads are, but it's so far from what you really think, because this is on the brink of a revelation. I'm in this nation, and I'm steady coming with a new creation.